Hey everyone, Tim Collect Jurassic, and I'm here with a huge Mattel Jurassic World toy unboxing. We have tons of Wave 2 figures for the Dino Trackers line. We have the full wave of Danger Packs up on top here. We also have the Strike Attacks that just hit, just got these, and I cannot wait to share them. Do a little overview of each figure. We'll do some comparisons to figures that are similar, all that good stuff as part of my unboxing and review. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We'll start with the Danger Packs since those are the smaller assortment up here. You can see here we have Tupandactylus, I hope I'm saying that right. Another flying reptile Mattel has added to the lineup, and this one looks really, really cool. Lots of prominent sort of like defining features that make it unique from some of the other flying reptiles we've got. As far as the packaging goes, we're pretty familiar at this point with the Dino Trackers packaging, but we always got to call out the fun little biome layering they do on each one of these. It looks like Tupandactylus is part of the desert biome. So you have a little cactus back there in the background. Behind the figure shows a desert. On the back, we also see the other figures in this wave. Worth noting that in this wave, they're repacking Dilophosaurus, which is great because that was a rare one from the first wave, but comes in with this wave, but I didn't include it here because I'm just doing wave 2 for this review. So let's go ahead and pop Tupandactylus out, take a look at some of that articulation, all that good stuff. So let me just snip, and then it should just pop right out of the packaging. We'll go ahead and repose the head. So there is Tupandactylus. I'm going to keep this handy, this box handy, so I know I'm saying it right. Tupandactylus with its head posed correctly, wings posed correctly. Really nice looking sculpt on this figure. You can see the head has a lot of really nice paint detail with that beak, and also paint on the crest up there. Looks really cool. I love that. It looks cool even without the crest, but the crest really adds something. And then you've got, sculpted feet, all that good stuff, all the veining on the wings. So a really nice detailed figure. No surprise there. All these figures pack lots of detail. As far as articulation goes, you saw that the wings flap back and forth, so you can do different poses. They come quite sort of like arced, really, which is different. Sometimes these flying reptile figures have really flat wings, but these are already very rounded, which is kind of cool. You get something a little different. So you can put them way up or put them way down or do a mixture of them. They pose independently, and they rotate too, so you can actually almost do a walking pose, which we'll play with here in a second. Also, the legs are articulated too, which is nice. Looks like they articulate pretty much together, like they're on the same little bar there. So I don't think you can articulate one without moving the other. So something to note when you're playing with this. But yeah, you can sort of do a walking pose, which is kind of cool. Especially for a core line, there's not something you usually see. So that is pretty awesome, something I haven't seen. And the head has a great articulation with a ball joint, or rather a rotating pivot joint that goes both ways. And then the mouth opens and closes as well. So yeah, you can do this really cool articulated, sort of like walking articulated pose if you're careful, which is really fun. And then it can also look way down in the air, like if you're flying, you can have it kind of look down to see possible prey, which is fun, right? So Tupandactylus, really nice stuff. Let's go ahead and pop open that scan code, take a look at that in there. It's a nice little trap door hidden on the back, like we see on a lot of these shallower figures that don't have room for a pull tab. So I love the articulated legs on this thing, and the colors are really cool too. I look at like something comparable. Let me get this guy posed again in this little walking pose. I look at something comparable like Tape Jara from the Dino, what was this? Dino Rivals line. This thing was very stylish, very cartoony, almost looks like an animated design, right? Pretty similar figure, but the colors are a little bit more saturated. Has base articulation on the legs. Not going to do a full review of this one. I guess all this to say that I feel like the Tupandactylus really shows that Mattel can really take the same idea of a toy and bring it to life in a couple different ways, sort of cartoony or something more along the lines of realistic, which I think is what Tupandactylus is. So that's Tape Jara, again, from a few years ago, but really liking sort of this very similarly, very similarly looking flying reptile and kind of what it brings. I feel like it looks feel like it looks better for my money. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Now that we're done looking at Tupandactylus, looking at the, let's see if I can say this one, Xuanhanosaurus. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm pretty sure I don't pronounce the X. This one looks awesome. Probably my favorite of the wave, just looking at them up there. This one looks the coolest. Xuanhanosaurus, got the mountain biome on it. So it's a mountain biome species. Also has the other wave on the back. Otherwise, pretty much the same packaging. You can see the little mountainside forest back there behind Xuanhanosaurus. Let's go ahead and pop it out. Take a look at it. Okay, it pops right out too. And there is Xuanhanosaurus. Again, got to keep that packaging handy so I can look at it for pronunciation reference. But here's this one. Really cool coloration on this one. You can see it's mostly white. Then it has a hint of like a kind of a starting of red on the body that goes up into the head. The arms are cast in that same red plastic. And the head has like little touches of like almost like a deep gray slate, almost blue. On the snout and everything. You can get nice painted eyes too. As far as sculpt detail goes, really cool feathering we see on that, just the red portion. It doesn't have feathers anywhere else. It's really just like on the top of the body, obviously the arms, and then it comes up through the head and kind of fizzles out once you get to the actual head. Really, really cool use of paint plus feathering. Reminds me a lot of the Atrociraptor, hope I'm saying that one right. So our other kind of big feathered dino. They actually even have similar coats, right? I love that. They almost look like they belong in the same climate with that kind of dual coloration. It's the same idea anyway. So there we got two feathered dinos already from Dino Trackers. And they look like they belong in the same climate, which is really, really cool. They have different teeth paint, which is interesting, but Atrociraptor is definitely a cool one from that dino, that first Wild War wave from Dino Trackers. So Atrociraptor, just for comparison's sake, so you can see that feathering and how that looks on this one. But back to Xuanhanosaurus, articulation wise, we got the legs that go back and forth independently, so you can make them run. Different articulation on the front claw, so you can make it, scream and grab. But then it's got the really nice articulation on the head that rotates up and down and back and forth and rotates all different ways. Then you have the mouth too, which has got nice paint on the teeth, paint on the mouth. Really cool figure. Tail rotates too, for what it's worth. So yeah, I really like this one. Again, it's probably my favorite of the wave. I love how they have the little hinge on the little like skin flap. I know there's a anatomical name for that, but they add the little skin flap in the mouth too, which is really cool. So I'm going to pose mine kind of bent down with his head arched up. I think that looks cool. He's cool. He's mean looking. For a feathered dino, he looks awesome. So that is Xuanhanosaurus. I really don't have any other good comparisons for him, but I thought Atrociraptor was a good one since they're two feathered dinosaurs. Taking a look at this one's even harder. They just keep getting harder. Piatnitzksaurus. Piatnitzkysaurus. We're going to call it Piatnitzkysaurus. Feel free to correct me in the comments, as always, as I butcher the pronunciation of these. This guy, you can see on the packaging, is the jungle biome. Hey, wait, before I move on, I'm always forgetting the scan codes. Sorry, guys. There's the scan code for Xuanhanosaurus right there. Pops in his back, made of red plastic, just pops back in there. So there's your scan code. I'm trying not to forget on these, but no promises. Here is Piatnitzksaurus. Go ahead and pop him out. Again, he's the jungle biome. You can see the little leaves in the packaging and the little waterfall in the background. Otherwise, the same exact packaging as the others. This guy's fun. He's almost like a chicken. I threw that box kind of far away. I'll never remember how to pronounce this if I don't retrieve it. Piatnitzksaurus. I'm going to say that 5 times fast and hopefully remember it. So, Piatnitzksaurus definitely rounds out these in terms of, we got a flying reptile, we have a very feathered sauropod. Then we have this guy who has lots of like pebbly texture on his skin. You can see just lots of big giant scales, little like almost like wart things on his bottom jaw there. you can see. And then he has like almost like a gizzard underneath his chin. Do you see that? It's just like a little skin flap hanging down. He's got all these little spines up on top. Spines almost like a miniature sail on his back. Then he has big giant crests, almost like a Genudectes on his head too. Big orange crests. So, and a cool, really sort of like duller grayish greenish color, which is fun too. So he's got the same basic articulation with the legs and the arms. He's a little bit more posed with his legs, so kind of hard to make him look running, but I suppose you could do it. And then he has the really nice head articulation that I hope Mattel never gets rid of, where you can rotate and go up and down. It's perfect. Like, I really like how they did it. We're gonna pose him like that though. And he's also has the jaws that open. He's got a really cool notch on his lower jaw too, which is kind of a defining trait. Must be of the species, have that defining trait in them. So that's his little roar there. He's cool. He's really cool. I'm gonna kind of make him stand up like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, the really interesting thing is that little gizzard he's got there. But cool colors. I love the pop of color on the crest too. Is a nice touch. He's an interesting looking one for sure. His scan code pops back in with the sail right there. You can see it's got the little sail molded on top, so when you pop it back in, it literally just blends into place. But yeah, he's interesting. He's a different one. We're getting a lot of these, I think I called it a sauropod before, but theropods rather. A lot of these like carnivorous theropods from Mattel. I mean, not counting all the different T-Rexes and Raptors, we have a ton of these guys, but I like that they keep picking ones that have some sort of a defining feature, or at least they're layering on a defining feature, like in this case, the little gizzard, and then you got the orange crest too. So they're kind of making it its own thing, which is nice. So that is the 3 Danger Pack Wave 2 figures from Mattel, looking really, really cool. We'll go ahead and give them some breathing room here. A really nice wave, you know, that's still just now hitting stores, hopefully, you know, and keeping Dino Trackers sort of alive through the rest of the year. So fun stuff to collect here. All 3 of them I would definitely recommend. They look great, especially this flying reptile, Tupandactylus, who's able to do a pseudo walking. I think that's just a really cool feature that we haven't seen on these guys, and he looks great doing it. So really good work there from Mattel to add that little design feature. Let's go ahead and hit up the Strike Attack next. I really want to make this guy walk perfectly like I had when I was showing you guys. I thought that looked so cool. How come I can't get it to do the same walk again? He looks like he's bending down for water. Maybe I have to put his... There we go. Okay. Go ahead and put him back over here. Let's start with, this is an interesting name, right? Gigantspinosaurus, or yeah, I think it's Gigantspinosaurus. So not a Spinosaurus, not a Gigantspinosaurus, a Gigantspinosaurus, but it's a herbivore, as you can see, sort of like a Stegosaurus-esque dinosaur. Part of the Strike Attack line, they all have their little biomes. Gigantspinosaurus is a desert biome, so you can see that there. Otherwise, just that Dino Trackers packaging shows the wave on top with the other 3 there, and sort of this how this one's action feature works, which I will, of course, demo when we pop it out of the box. So let's go ahead and get out Gigantspinosaurus, pop him out. He's got some really nice paint coloration on him too. That's the first thing I noticed. It's very subtly desert. He's got his legs cast in the one color, and then the paint is on the head and up through the body. Then it gets sort of like this dusty, sandy color too. So a cool transition there. A lot of these figures have that sort of transition effect. You can definitely see it on this guy. You can see it on the Atrociraptor too, with its bright green arms. That sort of like make the paint fade into a different color plastic is fun. Otherwise, you know, on the paint side, I do like how they painted all these little plates up there to match the cast plastic of these big horns. The horns are cast plastic, which I always love because it really cuts down on paint rub. And then they painted all these plates, which looks good. Missing the paint right here on these guys. Missing some paint on the Thagomizers, the spikes back there, which is too bad. But, you know, that's the kind of cost cutting they do. More and more with these toys, which is a bummer to see. Also, I have to call out, as you can see on the head here, you know, that eye paint on this side looks great. More or less right where it should be on the eye socket. But the other one is completely off the eye. It's not even like remotely on the eye. I guess you could say it's remotely on the eye, but it's completely misprinted. Nothing drives me more nuts than getting a quality control issue like that. And I get it a lot on these Mattel toys sometimes with their eyes being completely printed off. Sometimes you get a good wave and you never even see it. Other times, like I had a really hard time with the Nothosaurus getting one that's eyes weren't completely messed up, which is a bummer. So this guy is definitely not really something I'll settle for. I'll probably try to find a better one, but for the sake of this review, figured I'd point it out. Yeah, this guy has a little bit better articulation than the Danger Pack figures we were looking at. Its legs will actually, besides just rotating back and forth, they'll actually rotate in and out a little bit, if you can see that. And then its front legs have a hinge on them, so they can not only go back and forth, but also extend too. And then all his head articulation, that's all tied up in his action feature, which is moving his tail to make his head move, or vice versa, moving his head to make his tail move. Probably the more logical action feature. You can actually hold it back and then let it go. You can do a little bit of a spike, but I kind of like how when you move his head one way, his tail goes the other. It gives him a nice, almost in motion walking thing. So he's cool, and he looks really nice next to a lot of the other stegosaur-like dinosaurs we've gotten. We have I think this is Miragala over here. Hopefully I'm saying that right, or Miragaya. Very similar looking dinosaur in terms of like big giant spikes and plates down. It has a little bit more spikes than plates, but they look nice together, right? They're sort of somewhat similar. Then we also have I think this is Xuanhanosaurus, so pretty similar looking too. And these are all completely unique molds, which is cool too. You'd think they might reuse a head or something, but I can even tell this one has different spikes on the head. So that's pretty fun. That these three dinosaurs all are very similar, but also have all of their sort of like defining anatomical features to make them unique. And then of course we have Kentrosaurus 2, one of my favorites from Camp Cretaceous, looking really cool here. And kind of rounding out this unique non-Stegosaurus, but Stegosaurus adjacent toy designs from Mattel. So they did a really good job giving us a nice diverse lineup outside of Stegosaurus as toy options. So Gigantspinosaurus is the latest one. So we go ahead and put him back and move on to Prestosuchus. This one is really cool. Definitely a all new species. So was Gigantspinosaurus. Gigantspinosaurus, goodness. But Prestosuchus is just cool because I think it's actually not even a dinosaur. I think it's some sort of ancient reptile, prehistoric reptile rather. So you can see it has the water biome. You can see a little oil rig back there and some bubbles going deeper into the ocean. So they're calling this one a water animal, which I don't know if it was actually in the water, but maybe it was living on the rocks next to the water. But this one's really, really cool. It has a really cool look to it that makes it not even quite look like a dinosaur, but more like almost like a crocodile. Very reptile-y, very, very gatory, and I love the interlocking teeth they did on this one too. Nice coloration too. It's got that like dustier sort of color just on the snout, and the rest of the figure is really simple, just grays. But I think it works, and they have a little bit of blending there on the neck too. So subtle color, but I think it works because you get that pop of, not even a pop of color, just a hint of highlighting on the head there. That looks really nice. And you also, sculpt-wise, some cool details like the sail on the tail that kind of extends down to the back of the dino as well, or reptile rather. So giving it a little bit more of a watery feel there. Nice texturing with the scales. Nothing new there. I love the little knee pad they got on this one too. And the head has some cool details with you can see like the little spikes on the snout and all that stuff. So all that is looking fantastic. Really, really nice stuff. I love the head. The head looks really cool. You know what? Action feature wise, this one, I think, yeah, just big chomping mouth, which is cool. Which I wish I could pose the jaw open, but I love the way the mouth looks open is why. But I am glad that it stays closed when you're not using it versus the opposite. Big painted tongue in there too, or even plastic inserted tongue, which looks even better than paint. Really cool. So he has a nice big chomping action. Similar to his related Prestosuchus. We have Prestosuchus and Prestosuchus here. Prestosuchus was part of Primal Attack. Pretty hard to come by figure. A nice little Kenner homage too. I love this figure. Only one they ever did of this, as far as like repeating the sculpt. They never did repeat the sculpt. It has a mouth that opens too, so they can take turns roaring at each other. It's funny to me how much bigger Prestosuchus is than Prestosuchus, and they are similarly priced dinosaurs. Probably when they came out exactly the same price, but there's just a lot more plastic in Prestosuchus. Just a bigger figure overall, which is kind of funny. But I do love Prestosuchus, so no hate on this beautiful figure. Before I forget, I gotta pull up the scan tag for this guy because I know I forgot on Gigantspinosaurus. We'll go ahead and get that one out. But there's a scan tag, just has a little sail on top and literally fits right back in. And then also going back to this one, his is hidden very well under one of his painted plates, which is fun. So it literally just goes right back in. And basically is invisible from the top. There's a little bit of a tab there, but otherwise blends in really nicely. So I do like they make some effort usually to hide these, not counting the giant trap door on the Tupandactylus. So really cool. Love this figure. Prestosuchus, probably my favorite of the strike attacks that we're looking at today, just because it's an all new species, prehistoric reptile, fun sculpt, fun action feature. So Prestosuchus, folks. Moving on to the strike attack Atrociraptor. Your eyes don't deceive you. This is a bright green Atrociraptor, not affiliated with any of the Atrociraptors we saw in the movie, like Tiger and Ghost, and what was it? Was one called Red, or and I think there was Pantera. So yeah, they had four unique Atrociraptors in the film, but Mattel's already gone and started to make like Atrociraptor figures that aren't from the film, which I think is cool, especially this one for a couple reasons, and I'll get into those. But yeah, jungle biome, obviously, he's very green, definitely meant to be in the rainforest. Otherwise, packaging is the same as what we've seen so far in the review. Here is the Atrociraptor out of the box. I love the colors on them. Brilliant, brilliant greens. He's got a little bit of a white highlight on both eyes too, which kind of makes his eyes sparkle, almost like he's wearing eyeshadow. But I love the dark green fading into light green and how they transitioned it into the arms and then the head too. It looks really, really cool. Then it's got an action feature on the back that's unique to this figure. The other Atrociraptors do not have it. When you press the button on the back, it puts its head down. That's it though. It doesn't like bite or anything. It just puts its head down, which is interesting. So yeah, I mean that's unique to this Atrociraptor for sure. None of the other ones have this. They just have a articulation rather, or battle damage. But you can at least pose his mouth open and closed, and make him, I guess, headbutt, right? So no articulation with his head itself, but his arms articulate really nicely. So you can do all kinds of cool jumping pout. There we go, little jump there. So they go back and forth. Same with his legs. They also rotate in and out too, so you can give him some wider stances or something like that if you don't want him to have his legs so tight. So a little premium articulation on these medium-sized figures. And his scan tag is right here above his tail. Otherwise, it blends in really cool. But I just love how it's a unique color, different from the film already. Reminds me of the Atrociraptor we already got as part of the capture truck, which has this really fun sort of like reddish tan color too, desert color, right? So we're already getting like two unique Atrociraptor decos, different from the film, which I think is really fun. So we kind of have our own budding raptor pack, or Atrociraptor pack already kind of competing with what we have from the film. So that's an added feature of being this fun green one, and it looks great. These colors look great too. I definitely love what they're doing with Dino Trackers in terms of playing with colors. I do wish I could fit the harness that came with the Atrociraptor on this one, but I feel like his little quills are going to get in the way, which is really cool that they added quills to this, because none of the other Atrociraptors have those quills. They all just have the smooth back of the neck, but we got quills on this one, which is definitely cool. Reminds me of Jurassic Park 3, right? But unique to this figure for sure. And then rounding off our strike attack wave, we have Dilophosaurus. Really interesting coloration on this one that I'm digging. It's the mountain Dilophosaurus, apparently, I guess, with the biome there. So we'll go ahead and snip this one out and take a look at it. I do love how whenever they box these Dilophosaurs up, they give it this really obvious window thing in the back. You can see, oh, we still got another plastic to clip. Whoa, we got heavy duty plastic to clip back there. Ooh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this on camera. Let me see. Can I get back there? Ah, yes, I can. Yeah, they had that thing bolted on with a bigger piece of plastic back here, but it's got a big window there, so when you do the action feature, the frill doesn't bump into the box. Kind of fun. So this is the Strike Attack Dilophosaurus, not a new mold from Mattel. This is the same mold that we've gotten before. And then you can see the preview the action feature there. You press the tail down and his head up, his frill opens up, his mouth opens up. It looks really cool. It works really smoothly too on a lot of these. It's very like snappy. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break or anything, but coloration wise, that's where this guy's really special, not the action feature. I do like the really light color. Almost reminds me of some of the mountainy ones we saw already in this review with the Xuanhanosaurus. How do you say that? Xuanhanosaurus. Then I got that Eocarcharia out too to look. So they gave this one similarly sort of like light, snowy tundra colors. Excuse me. Also has a little tip of paint on the tail, which is interesting. I complained so much about them not painting tails, and they gave this one a little dip of color at the end. Not quite sure what that's about, but there it is. Then it has this really cool patterning, this cool, like almost like dart frog stripe that goes from the head into the body. Darker colored plastic on those arms too, which is cool. And then you have like this almost bluish color on the frill. So really cool patterning there. And then yeah, it has some basic articulation with the legs that go back and forth and in and out, the arms that go back and forth and in and out. And then posing wise, you can do other stuff with it, but just because how he's kind of crouched to the ground, it makes more sense to have him posed lower to the ground like that to me. So try to keep him posed more to the ground like that so you can see his action feature. So that's Dilophosaurus. He also has the scan tag trapdoor like the Tupandactylus where you pop it up, and then it's right back there on the back of this door. You can see they even did the skin texture in the trapdoor, which is funny. Otherwise, that just pops back in, so you can't really see it. It's interesting how they added the trapdoor on these guys, but I guess they didn't have room for the tab because you have this more fun action feature. They didn't want to compromise with this mold. So that is the Strike Attack Dilophosaurus, which again kind of rounds off our review of the Strike Attack wave and rounds out our review for all of the toys we're looking at today. The Danger Pack wave and the Strike Attack wave. All new figures, all you know, either just hitting or hitting very soon. I'll go through all of them just so you can hear me butcher the names one more time. What do you say, guys? We got Tupandactylus here. We got Xuanhanosaurus here. We got, this one's really hard, Piatnitzksaurus here. We have Gigantspinosaurus here, Prestosuchus, Atrociraptor, and Dilophosaurus. I can nail those last three. It's the other ones that I have a hard time with. So apologize if you're cringing right now at my pronunciation. It's not my strong suite when it comes to dinosaurs, but collecting toys certainly is probably where I'm more comfortable than some of those paleontological pronunciations. Definitely tough for me. But thanks for sticking it out if you did so far. And I hope you really did enjoy this review of these new Mattel Jurassic toys as much as I enjoyed showing them to you. Definitely give my channel subscription if you haven't already. Lots of cool new toys coming out that I'm reviewing, and obviously go check out some of my more recent reviews too. But I think that's all I got to say about this wave. Again, I'm Tim with Collect Jurassic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.